Welcome to the Digital Amateur Television Experimenters Night. This is VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania. Amateur radio is a worldwide hobby that has many different aspects. Digital television is just one of the many modes and areas that are covered. Maybe you're interested in becoming involved in the DATV Experimenters Nights. Do you realise that you do not have to be a radio amateur or need any ATV equipment to participate anywhere in the world? Also participate in the night by coming up to the Queen's Domain clubrooms. Yes, right on top of the Queen's Domain in the heritage-listed Coast Wireless Station. You never know, we might get you in front of the camera or behind doing one of the many roles during the night. We get underway with our program on a Wednesday night from 7:30 PM local time. We'll see you soon. This is VK7 OTC.
Okay, this is VK7 OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania, with our DATV Experimenters Night. And we've got a fairly cram-packed night tonight. We're going to attempt a bit of a live demonstration, which we're hoping will go well. You can see the other PC sitting here merrily decoding Whisper right at the moment on 40 metres. So gives you a bit of a hint about what we're going to be doing. And we've got Ron lined up in the green room with some radio controlled technology that he's going to be showing us in the second half. So anyway. Before we get underway, I'll let you know we are streaming on the YouTube Reast YouTube streaming channel, and you can make a comment in the chat channel. I'll be keeping an eye on that. So by all means, please ask questions as we go along, and also let me know that you're actually out there if you're watching on the streaming channel. That would be fantastic. And I'm also listening on repeater 2, so you can call in if you're watching via the DVB-T, the RF channel. We're listening on repeater 2 for questions via that particular medium as well. So, with no further ado, what I would love to do is we have was it last week or the week before? I think it might have been last week. Ben VK7BN had sent me some links. We work within government, and occasionally I get instant messaging links from Ben every so often. He's sort of my amateur radio equipment consultant, I suppose you'd say that. He's probably laughing at this point because I think he's on the streaming channel. So he sent me interesting links, and one of the interesting links that he actually sent me was it was a thing called DigiRig. Now, what I can actually do here is oh, hang on, there we go. Sorry, that was a bit of a deadly transition, wasn't it? What you're looking at there is the DigiRig interface, which if I zoom in here, the DigiRig interface, and I'll focus there. That weeny little thing there, and I'll give you an idea, a little bit of an idea. There's a 5-cent piece. So it's not very big. It's got a USB in one side, and as you can see on the side of the camera, it's got a audio and a serial connector in there, and it's called DigiRig. And I was just, if you bear with me just for a second, I'll bring up the website. Here we go, and grab it onto the screen. Now DigiRig is made by, was created by a guy called Denis Grisak, who is K0TX, and Denis has yeah, come in, Anthony. Yes, roll in. So if I grab this and put it across, now let's go to here and pull this across into here. Now this is the DigiRig website. It is digirig.net, digirig.net. And you can see it opens up into a page. There is DigiRig Mobile as a chirp programmer for a Baofeng. So it gives you the ability to actually use it to program the Baofeng, but also obviously to interface to the Baofeng as well. And there's a variety of information here. The components, the way that it's actually made up. Here's what's inside that weeny little box. That is not that much bigger than. It's about I think it's about 20 or 2 centimeters or 20 millimeters long. It's about 10 millimeters, a little bit more than 10 millimeters square in an aluminium case. Very, it's certainly robust. The connectors on it, there's a micro USB on one end, and then there is 2 3.5 inch stereo jacks on the other end, which is your audio and your signals. And I'll go into that in a short while. But it's the hardware, the software. There is a bit of a question and answer here. You can see the Xiegu G90 cable build. Here there's a plug into the back of it, which I assume the accessory socket, and then there is a plug to the front, which is the audio in-out. There is a little bit about the mobile version and the mobile test set. Test version that Denis has been using. Here's the here's the first prototype board, and it gives you again an idea of the size. So the key thing, what's different about the DigiRig interface, and the key thing is, and Denis talks about this on the website. He actually oh, hang on, just. Check the YouTube chat. Oh, okay. Thanks, Ben. I've also got it coming in another a bit of echo on the mic. Oh, okay. Wonder where that's coming from. Let me just drop the level down a little bit, Ben. We're actually operating with a new mixer tonight that I put in on the end of last week. So I'm hoping we've improved the background noise and the hum in this. There shouldn't be any hum. There shouldn't be any noise in the background. So I'm hoping that we're now. Hang on. Let me push that. Yeah. Okay. Also, if you are meant to be showing the DigiRig website, you aren't. Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. Let me try that. Haha. I should be watching the chat, shouldn't I, Ben? And he's probably laughing at this point. The the DigiRig, here's the DigiRig website, and you can see there's a bit of a feature here on, as I said, the DigiRig mobile as a chirp programmer for a Baofeng. So anybody who has tried to program a Baofeng through the keyboard has probably very quickly given up. Because it's pretty painful. You do need the programmer, the chirp programmer for the Baofeng, which is, you can use this particular DigiRig mobile interface for. Now, the key thing, I was just about to say that the key thing here, and the reason that Denis created this particular interface is, it was to reduce the number of cables. The number of cables that he used to interface to his transceivers. So what you've basically got is one USB cable from your computer, depending on what you're using. Tonight we're going to be demonstrating WSJT Whisper, but it could be a contesting software, it could be a control software, it could be anything. So it's one USB cable, and out the other side there are two cables. One is your control cable to the transceiver, and one is your audio in-out cable. So the DigiRig interface actually has both a USB interface, obviously, which gives you USB to your COM port control type functionality, and it also has a audio codec in it. So it actually converts the audio in and audio out to a USB to digital, and then into a USB stream. So you end up with one little box, and not much else. So and it's Denis Grisak K0TX, who may or may not be watching the stream at this point. He sent me a email earlier. Although the time difference makes it a bit difficult for the US. Anyway, so that's what. We'll just go to mixer channel. Where are we going to go here? We'll go to 3. Okay, so that's the DigiRig interface. And if we pull out a little bit, you'll see that it is sitting on the chair next to a FT-817, which is my FT-817, my wonderful SOTA rig up until recently. It's probably feeling very lonely actually right at the moment, because it's the IC705 is getting a bit of a go, and I apologise for that. But you can see the DigiRig, it's got the USB cable coming out the back of it that goes off to the computer, and then there are two interface cables, and I'll just come round because I'll turn this around so you can actually see and get a bit of a feel for the two interface cables. You can see this is the control cable which goes into the accessory port, and then there is the data port, which is this one here where the data in out. Now the 817 has a data in out port for RTTY, packet, and PSK. Now they are all audio interfaces. So what is labelled up as a data in out port is actually an audio interface, because you normally feed that into the packet radio or whatever audio frequencies. So that's really nice, because basically that's the connection in the back of the radio. You don't have to worry about any sort of connection to the microphone socket on the side, and all of that sort of stuff. That goes off via the 3.5 inch jacks, the 3.5 stereo jacks here, the serial or the control leads, and then the audio in out. These are shielded cables, so for the audio in out, so you get a little bit of protection from the environment. And that goes up to, and I'll just zoom up here. Just bear with me. How are we travelling? Ben? We're going. Now I'll zoom in here a little bit and a bit of focus. There we go. So now this is WSJT, the latest version that's out there, RC version. You can see it's merrily decoding 40 meters whisper right at the moment. I'm not transmitting. There we go. But there's some DX in there. There is a W4D. There is an N8V, an AL2I, a KI7DX that's being decoded. So now, one of the things I wanted to display here was, and I'll just zoom out a little bit here. There is a little bit you've got to do when you plug in the interface. And I'll just relay my experience with this. And I'm going to try and do this. I'm going to try and do this on here because I forgot the HDMI cable, so my bad. Now, one of the things that you have to do when you initially go into WSJT, you need to obviously go into Files and Settings, and you see that the settings comes up here. You need to find out what the COM port is. So the way that you do that, and I'll go into how you do that. If you go into Windows settings, most people are going to be using this on Windows, so you go into, pull up Windows and Settings, and then go to Device Manager, Manager, there we go, there it is, and okay, so that's security, and head down to ports, comms and LPT, and you'll notice that there is a Silicon Labs CP210X USB to UART bridge, and it's currently on COM3, so that's great. We know it's on COM3. So in the WSJT setup, cat control setup, I've selected FT-817 from the humongous pull down. I've selected COM3. I've made the baud rate 38.4. Now you have to make sure that obviously the FT-817's 38.4 as well. You don't need to change any of this, all that defaults. The PTT method is cat, so you don't have to worry about this port, and the rest of it is default. Now the really nice thing in WSJT is you've got this little test cat button, and if you click it and it goes green, then it can communicate with the radio. So we're set up in WSJT for the control side. Now the audio side, you'll notice here that you need to set up this for the microphone and speaker USB plug and play sound device. So both of those, microphone USB plug and play sound device and speakers USB plug and play sound device. So select both of those and you're set. Now when you do that, I noticed that the audio level was incredibly high. In fact, it went into the red. If the audio level here is green, then it's an acceptable audio level. If it's yellow, it's too low. If it's red, it's too high. So when I set this all up initially, I saw that the audio level actually went to red, and I realised that you needed to go into the sound control panel, go into the microphone, the USB plug and play sound device here, go into properties, and under custom there was a little AGC checkbox. And if I check this, you'll notice all of a sudden this level goes to full and red. So if you uncheck that, it comes back to an acceptable level. You can also control that a little bit. I've backed it right off to about 5 or 10, and that brings it back to an acceptable level over here. So okay that, we don't need that anymore, and you'll notice that it's merrily decoding whisper signals. There's a KD6, a JA5, an AE7, a JH7, and a whole lot of VKs in there as well. So on 40 meters. So that's the DigiRig setup on WSJT. Now, the one thing that we wanted to try here, and it was raised with. It was actually raised with. We'll come back here. Raised by one of the other guys out in the club rooms earlier. When you are running a contest, can you actually run the control of the rig for the logging software at the same time that you're running WSJT or you're running Ham Radio Deluxe or whatever else? I don't have an answer to that, but I will certainly try it and use something like VKCL and see whether it can share the control or read the control alongside of the particular digital interface that you're actually using as well. So very interesting comment, and something that we need to try. Now I'm jumping around here a little bit, and hello Xavier. We'll go to. Okay, from a serial cable point of view, I just wanted to show you what Denis supplies is a wonderful little thing on the website, which is the audio and serial cables. Can I make that a little bit better? Now, these are the two 3.5-inch stereo sockets, and the way that they're actually configured. And so you can see there is the audio in out, and then there is the rig receive data and rig transmit data, and then common. Now I've in relation to, and I'm going to send this through to Denis when I tidy this up. These are the connectors on the back of the 817, so the data connector and the accessory connector, and so it's relatively easy to connect up these in that particular configuration, and that's what I ended up doing. Once you get obviously when you get these obviously around the right way, and I have to say, and I admit that I got them around the wrong way the first time and wondered why nothing worked, and then I did some investigation and realised that I'd interpreted the rig in and rig out in the wrong way. Turn those around and everything works. So I'll tidy up this particular diagram and send it through along with a picture of the arrangement, and who knows, Denis might even put it on the website. So there are actually a few settings on the 817 that you need to be aware of about the data mode. So there are two settings, which is a dig mic, so a digital mic level, which I've got set at 50%, and that's actually what it defaults to. So if you haven't played with that, that'll be okay. And there is also a dig mode setting, which is for PSK, RTTY, and also user upper and user lower. Now I've got it set on user upper. Now it's obviously working because we're decoding. I'm not sure what the difference is between setting that up for a digital mode like RIDI or PSK and the user mode, but I've got it set at the user mode right at the moment, and it seems to be working fine for either upper or lower sidebands. So not sure whether it makes any difference, but it's certainly decoding right at the moment. So there are some settings that you need to be aware of in the FT-817 that you may want to check. Now the other thing I wanted to show, I bought the DigiRig interface. There I also bought and I'm going to upset this because I'm going to unplug it. One of the things that I bought, which will just let me come up and this way. Okay. This little interface is a USB Isolator interface. So instead of going to the trouble of trying to isolate through little transformers and the like, and there may very well be little transformers in here, but instead of trying to do that on the audio side, they actually do it on the digital side through isolation. So this is a USB isolator, stops things like ground loops, hum loops, and very prevalent if you've got a hum loop or a ground loop on WSJT, what you end up seeing on the waterfall are lines at either 50 or 100 hertz, and there are multiple lines. So if you've got some issues with ground loops, then this would be really handy, because you plug this in on a normal user USB interface, and what it's basically doing is isolating the rig control and audio, because it's doing it at the digital end. It isolates, and you certainly won't have any hum loops or ground loops if you use a particular device like this. So Denis is actually selling these as well on the digital mobile, the DigiRig mobile website. So that's the other thing that I purchased, having had some experience with trying to find ground loops and hum and all sorts of things. And I understand Hayden's done a video just recently on connecting a XLR balanced line microphone to an IC7300. And understand he had some issues with hum and all sorts of stuff. So that's the sort of thing that will assist you with that particular issue. So what we'll do, we'll zoom back out here. Now, hello Xavier, hello Harry, and great that you're watching. In fact, we've got five viewers tonight, so great to see. If you've got any questions about the DigiRig interface, please drop them into the chat channel or on R2, and we'll see if we can answer them. So what we'll just do now, I just want to take a short break. We have to reset the studio because I've got Ron coming in with his radio control camera technology, new 5.8 gig camera technology, and so he's going to come in with one of his aircraft and also the technology as well. So just stand by. We'll go to the test pattern and we'll just reset the studio. So just stand by. Okay, we're back in the studio. So thanks for holding. And I've got Ron Cullen, who's one of our regular contributors from a little while ago. Haven't been in the studio for a while, but I think the last thing was the LCD panels. Actually, I think
it was.
Yeah. So welcome, Ron. Welcome. How's your day been?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah.
Excellent. So what have you got to show us tonight?
Right, so previous presentations I've done with radio control and FPV and all the stuff that goes with that.
First person
view with goggles.
Yep.
I've been fiddling in that area a bit more, and one of my favourite cameras came on special, so I thought normally they're a bit too expensive to buy when they're not on special, so I think it was half price.
Oh, okay.
So I bought two. But
I'm not going to go into that.
Well, for my other plane.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, so I brought that in just for a little bit of a show, and I've actually come across a little problem with it, which one of the reasons why I brought it in tonight was to do some testing with it. So I'll get Justin to show you that one.
We'll move to that. So what are we looking at here?
So this camera is called a RunCam Split. It's version 3, and it's the Nano brand. Nano being because the camera itself is quite small. Yeah. So
that's the camera, and that's the pencil next to it.
Now the camera records in 1920 by 1080, so it's high definition video, and the circuit board that it's attached to, the reason why it's called a split is that quality of video is too high to transmit. It takes up too much bandwidth for your goggles.
Yep.
So you typically have a standard definition video signal being transmitted to your goggles.
Okay.
So you can see on the circuit board there's a provision for an SD card.
Yep.
And SD card goes in there, and that's where it records the HD video.
Okay.
And then the lead coming off it, the red, black and yellow, it's got 5 volts. Oh, actually there's a range of voltages which you can take, anywhere between 5 volts and 20 volts, which is handy because you have all different batteries that go in the planes, and they can range with a lot of different voltages. Yeah. So you can see the chip that's on there that does all the processing. I think that might be the culprit. And what I've found is it gets very hot. The whole thing gets very hot.
To the point of melting hot melt glue.
Yes. So the one that I've got installed in my plane, because this is a spare one, the leads coming onto it, I stress relieved it by putting some hot glue on it so they wouldn't get damaged or pulled off or anything, but the board got so hot it just melted all the glue off. Oh, and that's a microphone. Can you see just
there?
Yeah, that's a microphone that's on board as well, so you can get audio from it as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, so that's
pretty impressive. And that's high definition video that you're talking about.
Yeah, recorded to the SD card. So the reason for bringing it in tonight, apart from show and tell, was to put it on a variable power supply to ramp it through the from 5 up to, if it went to 20 volts, because there is a theory that maybe there's an optimum voltage where it will work best at, rather than if it's too low a voltage, it might be using a boost type of DC to DC converter, which will be drawing more current and making it get hotter and everything.
Yeah, okay.
So that's just wanted to see if there is a sweet spot, and then I might try and rig something up.
And there is a little inductor just here. Yeah. That's an inductor, which I suspect may be part of the DC to DC converter.
If that's how it works, yes.
Here. So if that is. Yeah, not sure there's too much on that side, unless that's that's something. But okay, excellent.
Right,
so let's come back here. Cool.
So what? Just to show a little bit further, I've brought the plane in that has the camera installed on it. Which we'll flick over to that.
yes, sorry, let's go there. So cool.
Right. So there's the camera sitting on the top, and I'll open up the top of it. And you can see and there's the RunCam circuit board just underneath it. And what I've done for this one is put a little heat sink on it to try and dissipate some of the heat, and that has improved it.
Okay.
It's not as hot now, but it still gets quite warm.
So it is that IC that is getting hot. It is that is the
It seems
where
to
the heat's
be.
coming from.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've noticed by putting a little heat sink on there, it has improved it. Yeah.
Okay.
So what we'll do is we'll fire it up so you can see what the video looks like.
Fly the plane around the studio. No, maybe not.
The transmitter's on. I'll plug it in. Just unplug that.
An alarm of some sort?
That's my lost alarm.
Oh, okay.
So if the plane
Yep.
goes off on its own merry way and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
lost,
And that comes on, and so you can hopefully hear it
and
somewhere.
if you crash,
Yeah.
it's got its own battery backup,
Okay.
so that you can. That might be
The amount of technology in these
Yeah.
planes is
and
just...
it's got an inbuilt strobe, so that if it gets crashed for a really long time, and then you can't find it, go out at night time, and the strobe will be flashing, so you'll be able to see where it is. Okay.
Like, you got to be kidding. So what we'll do is we'll go to this cam. Just bear with me. We'll come up. We'll get there. It's very slow going up and down, and too fast to go. No, hang on. That's all right. I'll zoom to you.
Yeah.
I'll zoom to you. So let's zoom in there and just bear with me as we get the focus. There we go.
Right.
So
Can't actually really see much then, can you?
We'll-
Yeah, it's,
we'll go to that's pretty easy.
okay. Yeah, so that's what you would see in your goggles. That's the standard.
Oh, okay.
The standard definition
Yep.
that's being transmitted from the plane.
Okay.
So it's more narrow bandwidth, and there's not much happening here at the moment. Latitude and longitude down the bottom, but we've got no satellites at the moment.
No,
and
inside.
all sorts of things happening.
And
there.
that's all coming through the 5.8 gig on top here.
Yes.
I assume
from
the cloverleaf.
and if you notice in the corner over here, there's a little red light blinking on and off.
Oh yeah.
That's indicating that it's being recorded at 1080p
On the card.
On the card,
Okay.
yeah.
So how big is the card in there? Just as a matter of interest.
I think it's it might be just a 16 gig, or
Okay.
I'm going to get a bigger one.
Yeah.
I think it recording in high definition for about 15 minutes does about 4 gig or something, 4 gig of video.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Somewhere around there, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
And actually, just before you do that, just turn it around, because there is this little thing on the back, which is where the antenna's connected to.
Yeah.
So this is.
That's it. It thinks you've gone to sleep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is the actual receiver that's receiving that.
From the plane, yeah.
Okay.
And this is a diversity receiver.
Okay.
So there's an omnidirectional antenna, and then I have a directional antenna which I put on here, a patch panel antenna at 5.8 gigahertz.
Okay.
And this normally sits on a tripod at the field,
Yep.
and because it's also got a recorder in it as well.
Yeah. Okay.
And a little mod that I.
Oh yes. Yeah. No, the little battery mod here.
Yeah.
That's
that's
yeah.
So you
It's
can
having
see
trouble
how-
with the colour, but
Yeah, as you can see how much voltage is left in the battery.
it's very good.
This has got a recorder in it as well, which I probably won't use anymore because getting it all recorded on the plane in high definition.
In high definition.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
true. Oh, true.
And then we can put a short YouTube video on of it actually in action.
Just talk among yourselves while I get that up.
If you want to do a search for just ROJULEC.
ROJULCE. Okay.
ROJULEC.
UL.
So it's Ron and Julie Cullen.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
And
Mathinna?
that's it. That's the latest one, yeah.
So, what we'll do here is just go across to PC and grab this across to here and maximise that.
Right, so what we have there, the large screen, and it doesn't look so crash shot here, is the high definition video being recorded.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, in the large one. And the small one, the picture-in-picture, that's what you're seeing in the goggles.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it's showing 10 satellites and latitude, longitude, and altitude 68 metres.
Yep.
Speed 40 kilometres an hour. And
Yeah, okay.
down on the oval there where the white car is on the left there, that's where we
That's
are.
where you are.
There.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's so you'd only be seeing in the goggles over on the right hand side, but and down the bigger picture is the one that's recorded on the SD in high def.
I love it. I tell you what, that's good definition. It is high definition, well and truly.
Yeah, it's also been my processing to get the picture-in-picture. I've lost a bit of quality there in the program that I used.
Okay.
When you look at the raw video in high def, it's like crystal clear.
Yeah. Okay.
So I've done a bit of tampering there, and that's the thriving metropolis of Mathinna.
Woohoo!
Yeah, in the distance there, in the foreground, is a large farm that one of the blokes on the town, he's given permission to fly all over and all that. And he often will lend us the keys to get access in there. And so we do a bit of flying around there. It's a nice big space to fly around in.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And there's some good landmarks that you can know where you are. It's good.
Now, the reason why I'm going left and right here is because if you notice in the picture-in-picture it says ATUN, that stands for auto-tune. This was the first flight of this plane, because it was a new plane, and what I'm doing is you go through this process and it tunes the flight computer for extremities and there's quite a bit that goes on. You can do it automatically, you can do it manually if you know how to fiddle around with all the raw
So
data.
this is all the thresholds in all the different things that you can do?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is, you're meant to do about 20 banks left and right in auto-tune mode.
Okay.
And once you've done that, then you start doing it in pitch. You go up and then down, up and then down.
Okay.
And then the computer learns the extremities of the plane and what you're doing, and it just makes it a more stable flight, and it just fine-tunes everything. Yeah.
What these things do is is amazing, absolutely amazing. No, okay. And it's giving you all the headings, all the speed.
And that's all programmable.
Yep.
I've added a few other things on there since I've done this video.
And it's even doing the artificial horizon.
It's got artificial horizon.
I love it.
So right at the very top, there's a picture of a little house with an arrow.
Oh, yes.
And to the right, that's distance to home. So we're 450 metres away from where I took off.
Okay.
And that's the direction. If you ever get lost, it's okay to look at the landmarks, but if you get lost in the bush or something, you don't know where you are, you can just look at that and then turn in that direction. Or if you panic, you push the return to home button.
Okay.
And it'll just fly itself back.
So if that arrow is pointed towards home, you're actually heading to home, I assume?
No, it's pointing straight ahead, because there we are there at the oval.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, so when it's pointing straight ahead, that's when
Okay.
The symbol's just saying that's just the home one, Battery voltage, current draw, 6.5 amps.
It's interesting because that goes up and down. Is that
the
that percentage down in the bottom right hand corner?
Throttle.
That's throttle.
Yeah, throttle.
That's the throttle. That's what's going up now.
I've gotten rid of that.
No.
I know what my throttle is when I'm flying. So,
Yeah.
I fine-tune that a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is remarkable, Ron. That is just.
So we're at 80 metres altitude. drawing about 6 amps out of the LiPo.
Now, this is a electric motor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, 6.5 amps, that's not insignificant amount of current. Mind you, that's motor, I assume, in all the electronics at some
Yes.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see the standard definition video gets a little bit scratchy, and my tracking between the two things is not the best. That's me having to get used to the software and fiddle around with it. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a sort of a decoding delay.
Yeah.
We're used to that in digital television.
The problem that I had is the high definition is it recording, I think it's 60 frames a second, and that one's only recording something different.
Yeah,
it's not the same, so it's sort of drifted a bit.
I gather from the laughs that are coming from the room next door, they're a bit seasick.
Yeah. So if we skip towards the end, you watch the landing. So right down. It gets a bit boring after.
Let's go. Keep going. Bit further. About there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's zoom forward.
Might even be a little bit more, but I think I have an abort landing on the first one. I was coming in too fast or overshot. So
Here we go.
oh, this might be the landing.
Do it quick.
So this is like 35 kilometres an hour. It's landing at pretty fast.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Didn't flip or anything.
No.
Oh, that's right.
And then disarm throttle. Right.
Oh, there you go. I love it. That is fantastic.
Mm.
No, that wasn't what we wanted. Let's try that one.
And I suppose I'll go and do some measurements on this.
Well and truly, we
Yeah.
can head out and put it on the power supply and see whether we can't find a sweet spot. So good stuff. That is fantastic, Ron. That is, and thank you for sharing that. We look forward to another update, radio controlled update, because just let me stop that. Because the technology, if we do a comparison of the technology that you were using back when you gave us the presentation to what you're using now, it has come across in leaps and bounds, and it's actually been not that long. It's so, and you've been building 5.8 gig antennas and all sorts of stuff, and doing that sort of experimentation. So it doesn't necessarily need to be radio as in the traditional radio type for amateur radio. It can be radio control. It can be first person view. It can be all sorts of things. So yeah, that is fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ron.
That's okay.
That is excellent, and thank you for sharing that. And I look forward to seeing how we go with finding the sweet spot for the power and current. So good stuff.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Ron. Okay. Now I've got a few reminders before we finish up tonight. It's 21 minutes past 8. I can't really believe that. So I just wanted to, there has been some experimentation and updates. It talks to you. The very impressive control RC control box is talking to us. So I just wanted to remind people, the 6 meter repeater, there has been a cavity filter installed that has come from overseas for the 6 meter repeater, which gives much better isolation between transmit and receive frequencies. There have been, our repeater officer has given a few observations of what's been happening with the revised arrangement with the isolation cavity filter. There has been some dropping out that's been occurring, and it looks as if that might actually be because of stations driving their modulation a little bit too hard and causing the deviation to peak and then clip, so basically drop out. So what's been found is if they decrease their modulation a little bit, everything seems to come right, and it resolves those intermittent dropouts. So that's a bit of an observation. If you're experiencing those intermittent dropouts on the repeater, back your modulation off a little bit and see whether that improves things. What it has also done is the dipole that's being used for the 6 meter repeater right at the moment. There are some known issues with that particular dipole, and so they're planning to have a bit of a working bee where we actually bring that tower down and resolve the problem with the dipole. And potentially put verticals, omnidirectional verticals up, and try and do some comparisons between vertical and horizontal polarization and see what effect that actually has for the 6 meter users are in and around Hobart. So that's the update on the 6 meter repeater. Lots going on. We also, if you've been up to the club rooms anytime soon, you'll notice that in the back room where we are, in the club station, there is a big gap that's appeared in next to the club station, which will end up being some workbenches that will have, you can put together projects and do all sorts of things. With soldering irons, and there'll be components and some test equipment and bits and pieces that'll be available along with the tidy up of the club station and labelling up of all the different antennas that come into the club station. So there's a lot of work going on in that particular area of the club right at the moment. Now, next week, and it'll probably be a couple of weeks of sessions for the DATV nights, what we're hoping to do is actually take you through a little tutorial session on GNU Radio. Now, and it's GNU Radio Companion that we're going to be using. So this is a fascinating little application that has been written and maintained, which enables you to put the building blocks of a radio together in software, and then if you want to actually connect it to a particular radio through a number of interfaces, but it enables you to do filtering, it enables you to change levels, do digital filtering, do all sorts of things, all in a very graphical user interface that is a bit of a flavour of the month with those people who are playing with digital radio and software defined radio. So yeah, it's and the other thing is it's all freeware, so it's all free to download. This has come from and I thank Rex VK7MJ who put me on to the microwave users the MUD conference. Anyway, I don't know what the D stands for, but anyway, this is the Gips Tech of the US. And Rex had the privilege of going across and actually presenting some presentations to them. And one of the tutorial sessions that they had during that particular conference was on GNU Radio. And so I got hold of the GNU Radio tutorial book, and that's actually what we're going to be working our way through over the next DATV nights, and that'll all be on screen, so and give you a bit of a look and feel of GNU Radio. So that's the next few DATV nights. Very quick reminder, okay, our May presentation, which is Wednesday, May the 5th, is Mike Groth VK7MJ, who will be talking about lightning whistlers and other phenomenon. Another one that's not to be missed. We had one from listening to the planets, the sounds that from Jupiter earlier in the year, and that was absolutely fascinating. So this was, I'm sure, will be equally as fascinating. And then June, our June presentation night, which is the 2nd of June. Presentation night will be by Mike Hawkins VK7DMH on satellite communication and the antennas to do that satellite communication, and we are hoping it will also include a demonstration on the night. So we're just working out which potential satellites we will have access to at that particular time, but Mike's intending to try and give you a bit of a hands-on satellite reception and decoding tutorial as part of that particular presentation. July, I am hoping, will be about Tas Government Radio Network. Just negotiating that right at the moment. And then August will be all about contesting. So we've lined up a couple of people who are red hot contesters to give us a bit of an inside view of contesting. So that's our presentations over the next few months. Videos tonight for our RF viewers. There is a very short little VHF marine radio usage video I came across from the ACMA, which features Tas Maritime Radio. So I thought, well, hey, that's featuring, and it happens to be when it was still in this room. So I thought I'd play that for our RF viewers. There is a couple of Veritasium ones, which the discovery that transformed pi, and also why has no one measured the speed of light yet. So there's a few interesting ones there, and we've also got in the middle there a couple from Peter Parker VK3YE, which is the chopping board breadboard, which is just recently for solderless prototype circuits, and also electronics on the floor, a Japanese deer scarer, and simple spark radio transmitter. So I thought this was very zen of Peter, and so I thought I'd throw that in for our RF viewers. But anyway, thanks to everyone who called in tonight, and anyone listening on the RF channel and watching on the RF channel, you're most welcome. And we do it all again in a week's time, and it'll be a bit of a focus on GNU Radio. So 73 to everyone who's been watching and listening, and we'll see you next time. This is VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania, with our DATV Experimenters Nights. And yeah, we bid you farewell in 73, and have a good rest of the week. Cheers.